Welcome back to another episode of 2 for 2, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voices of the culture. I'm your host, Keith, and I'm here with a guy that has a towel over his head. Can't tell you who he is because I can't see his face, but I'm assuming it's Nell, probably. Oh, wow. Who knew? New merch from Nell.
We still running off that high, baby. This ain't new.
Oh, okay. I thought this was a part of the
playoff games. Yeah,
you saving
you'll
that?
You'll see the new merch when the season starts.
Show him the shirt.
I mean, we've seen this before.
Yeah, little stepbrothers. So
yes.
I'm back with Nell.
Brothers.
As always, you can see he is still riding the 76ers high. Ride on, my brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. When LeBron James is on your team, ain't much to complain about, man. They're just ain't. So we always having good days.
Hey, man, that's good. I'm glad to see good days are coming. These days will make for better days for me in the end. As they say, better days are coming. So I just have to be patient. Nell has completely stolen my championship. My victory lap, right? He's completely stolen away from me and he's taking it over. So I'm going to just let him have it because
you had a good couple months, man.
I mean, I should have went live from the 2 for 2 page at the parade. That's what I should have did. But my phone was dead. So
best believe I'll be live at our parade.
Nell said he was going to kidnap me and take me to the Sixers parade. So whenever that happens, folks, let's just...
He's going to hang you from a street light. He's going to put you in that Brunson jersey.
Don't worry about it. It'll be enough New Yorkers out there. It'll be enough New Yorkers out there. Y'all ain't getting nowhere. And y'all not winning a championship. So it doesn't matter. But part of why I'm cool with letting Nell have it is because it's not even basketball season anymore, folks. We put a bow on that season.
It's still basketball season.
We put a bow on that season a little while ago,
we
right?
did not.
It's officially NFL season. The NFL preseason, first game of the season, actually going to be tomorrow, man. So when y'all hear this, you'll have some football on. And from there on, there won't be another week until, February without football. So we made it for my fellow football fans. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to start doing, over the course of the weeks, we're going to do a little NFL, adding that back into the resume. We're going to, do a little bit different with the previews this year. In the past, we've, primarily just done, each individual division. But we're kind of going to do a more broad preview over the course of the weeks as we lead up to the NFL, highlighting a lot of the things that are going on around the NFL. So what better way to start than, Nell, off-season's over, right? At this point, pads are on, helmets are on, people at practice, training camp is fully underway. I saw some good Sonny Styles footage today. Some people was like, okay, this dude might be really good. I don't know if you saw that. I'll send it to you. But what teams, man, in the NFL would you say had the best offseason?
I mean, there's really no place to go other than the Rams. We talked about a little bit about them possibly getting Aaron Donald back. And, the main reason that, he's looking to unretire possibly is because of the addition of Myles Garrett this offseason. You get a reigning defensive player of the year like that. I think he's had at least 12 sacks every year in his career. Just a dominant force. You give up Jared Verse, who was, a good young pass rusher, but I mean, there's just levels to it, and Myles Garrett is at the top of that list. And also, I mean, their biggest weakness, pass rush wasn't even a huge weakness for them last year. It was more so their secondary, and they beefed up that secondary, at McDuffie and Jalen Watson. So, you already got a top of the line offense with, Matt Stafford coming off his MVP season, Puka Nacua continuing to ascend as a top 3-4 receiver wherever you want to place him. Still got Devontae Adams there. So that's a loaded team. You got the defensive player of the year, MVP. Who is their running back? I can't forget his name.
Kyron Williams.
Yeah, Kyron Williams.
Blake
so still got a solid rushing attack there. Look, they were right there in NFC Championship game against Seattle. That could have went either way. It could easily come down to those two teams again. And with the additions of Garrett, the secondary help, they're much more suited to go ahead and clinch that run to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It all eyes are on them, right? They hit it off. You said it. Aaron Donald worked out for those guys today, right? So that return almost seems imminent, and that might put a bow on this as one of the best off seasons for a team. I think if the Rams were already a contender, right? The Rams were already a team that we were thinking last year had a shot to, really win it all. You talked about all the guys they have offensively. I mean, they got a lot of young talent on that defensive line as well. Even without Aaron
I
Donald,
mean,
now
they
you
felt
add
so good about their team. They took a young quarterback in the first round,
exactly. And so
luxury
you
pick.
do all of that, you're having a hell of an offseason. But I mean, also, I got to give some credit to, the Baltimore Ravens as well. I think they did pretty well this offseason. I'm, adding the only other edge out there, even close to a tier near, that of a Myles Garrett, and Trey Henderson, excuse me. They got, drafted some really good weapons, for Lamar, the young rookies, Jacoby Lane and those guys, man, they're going to be exciting to watch this season. So I think the Ravens are, they're out with the and let's also add they made a change of coach, right? John Harbaugh out the door. You bring up your young guy that's been, in that same Harbaugh tree, I guess, if you will.
Jesse Minter.
Jesse Minter, yep, a Michigan guy, a real young, defensive minded guy. That's going to bring a new tenacity to that team, right? And I think the sky is the limit for them. And then the other team that I like, man, I got to give your team some credit, man. I
I was
said it.
waiting
I
for
said
it.
it. I said it after the draft, so, and I'm still saying it. And I just sent you the clip so you can watch it, at your leisure. But I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, man, what a off season, right? I mean, you traded Micah Parsons, right? And then you beef up that line, right? You got some pieces in there from that. Um, you drafted Jayshon Barham, who, for all reports out of camp, looks like a steal in the third. We talked about Sonny Styles. Um, I mean, Jesus Christ, right? The star is back, and I think it'll be a fun year for them in the NFC East. I think Dak has a lot to prove. I think that the Cowboys, though, you talk about a team that last year maybe underperformed, right? I mean, not by your standards, because we know your standards are a little bit differently. However, uh, with a team with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, the you got your guy back. What's his name? Your corner. You got rid of Diggs, and now you got or you still got what's his name, man?
We still got
You
Bland.
that's what I'm thinking about. Thinking about Bland. You got Bland coming back,
He's
of course.
trash. He's
Nah.
trash.
Why did I say
He's
Sonny? Why
trash.
did you let me say Sonny Styles? I meant Caleb Downs.
Caleb
What the heck am I
Downs.
talking about? Yeah, Caleb Downs. I'm thinking about the complete other NFC East team. Caleb Downs, Malachi Lawrence to that edge rush. So, hey, basically just hitting on needs, right? Just hitting on needs, and I think ultimately even bigger than just hitting on needs, y'all added some star power with those guys, man. So I'm excited to see, how you guys look. I got to find a reason to hate on something because I fear you're just gonna throw the Sixers stuff back into my face regardless of what I say. Um, so yeah, so those teams I think had some really big off seasons, had to really make some moves, and they've done it. So on the flip side of that though, or maybe not even the flip side, what teams had the most to prove? Now for me, I'll go by saying all three of these teams that we just talked about, to me, have the most to prove, right? You think about the Rams, you add Myles Garrett, you said F them picks way back when, right? You got everything. You made a luxury pick in the first round, getting a quarterback. Well, you got Matt Stafford. You added McDuffie. You added Watson. You might get Aaron Donald back. And if you don't get it done this year, I fear it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So that for me is one team. But who else do you have?
I got a couple.
Let's see.
I got a couple players. Team wise, for me, I got the Patriots. Um, you bring in AJ Brown, who is going to have a chip on his shoulder the way things ended in Philadelphia. You got obviously there's been a lot of conversation this offseason about the Patriots' strength of schedule last year. We heard so much about it being the weakest schedule in the last 25 years. They get to the Super Bowl and first time they run up against a quality opponent with that's fully healthy, we saw what happened. It didn't end well. So
Yeah.
Drake May had an MVP, level season. They played really well on both ends of the ball. So it's really just kind of coming out and building off of that and seeing if it was, just a 1 year wonder or, if this is sustainable level of play for them. So, I think a lot of guys on that team, got a lot to prove out there. It's been a lot of noise this offseason. And, we haven't even talked about the head coach yet, Vrabel and, his activities and whether that'll be a distraction for the team or not. I don't think it will be. But,
Probably not.
um, yeah, but they, the strength of schedule, tougher opponents this year. They're going to be the hunted, not the hunter. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out, against better competition and, if they can recapture that. But, they've got all the pieces defensively, he's still got playmakers. And we'll see if Drake May can build off it. He doesn't necessarily need to have an MVP runner-up season, but something close to it. Still showing that he's the level of talent that we thought we saw last season.
Yeah, you better hope so. Like you said, AJ Brown, that's a big piece. So, that alone, just the media, I don't want to call it a media circus, but just the media attention that they've gotten for one has definitely added a lot. I want to stay in that division, with a team and a player, and you know who it is. The
I know
Buffalo
you was
Bills
coming
and
with him.
that guy, you know how it is. Similar to how I feel about the Los Angeles Rams. If the
New
Bills
coach,
can't
new
get it
receiver.
done, hey, they made the change. Know what I'm saying? Changes have been made. We talked about it. What I say last year when we got on here, I said if they don't do it this year, someone's getting fired. Well, sure enough, that happened. You add DJ Moore over there with those guys. You got to get it done, right? You got to get it done out. Out in the AFC East. Miami's not going to be nothing. New York's not going to be nothing. So it's you in New England and the rest of the AFC, right? You should be. I mean, people have Josh Allen once again crowned as the number one quarterback in the NFL coming into the season. So if that is the case, I need to see something. It has to happen. On the same token, the Cincinnati Bengals, ton to prove.
Team I was thinking about as well.
Historic slow starters, right? Every year they start slow, and the same old story. They get hot, and Joe Burrow goes down, and then it's damn. Well, how about we don't start slow this year, right? They play my Bucs this year to start the season. You can start off a little slow, but don't start off that slow, right? Let's show, can you actually break that mindset that people have that, hey, the Bengals are going to start off slow. It's going to take them a while to get it going. People talk about the preseason all the time and how a lot of teams don't play their guys in the preseason, right? We've seen that come to fruition. There's less preseason games now. If I'm the Bengals, hey, I might got to risk a little Joe Burrow injury if it means getting us in sync, because we don't have time to do this for another season, right? That you lose Trey Hendrickson when you do stuff like that, right? You got Jamar Chase, you got T Higgins, you got all these guys over there, and Joe Burrow. So like, if it's not now, I'm gonna get him the same moniker I gave the Bills. If it doesn't happen this year, or even if simply they don't make the playoffs this year, you don't make the playoffs again, gone. Changes will be made. People will be gone, right? That Bengals roster will not be intact. You paid all this money for 2 receivers. You got all your money and your guys, and it's costing you. You know what I'm saying? So definitely a lot to prove for me as well. What's another team you got now, or player?
I got 2 quarterbacks I'm looking at this
Ooh,
year.
okay, okay.
First and foremost, CJ Stroud.
Ooh, good one.
Um,
Good one.
coming off a terrible season for him, disastrous playoffs. They didn't give him a long-term extension, which, that tells you enough right there. He's made the playoffs, every year in his career, but, especially the last 2 years, a lot of that, credit goes to the defense, which is arguably the best in the league. They got playmakers at every level. But the problem is, the offense has been an issue the last couple of years, and mainly CJ Stroud, who's taken a step back since winning Rookie of the Year, year one. I mean, this is a guy who only threw 5 interceptions his first year. He was in a lot of, after he, lost to the Ravens in the second round his first year, there was a lot of top 5 conversation talks for CJ Stroud, much like Jaden Daniels after an electric start. There was, a lot of conversations thrusting him into a position that, obviously we see at this point now, he just didn't earn at that point. So, they were 23rd on third downs, 30th in the red zone. His numbers regressed the last 2 years. He went from averaging 273 yards a game to 219 to 217 last year. Yards and TDs dropped each year. So, I mean, like, and the Texans put on a defensive
And
masterclass in the
I
playoffs.
was just about to
They
say that
had they had
defense.
7 sacks. They had 5 turnovers forced. They held teams to 5 of 28 on third down in those 2 playoff games. The problem was, CJ Stroud had 7 turnovers himself in those 2 playoff games. So, the Texans game was not good for him. If he can find his swagger again and play clean football, doesn't necessarily have to be MVP level. But if he can play clean football,
Yeah, with that
hit the
defense,
easy throws on third down, like you got Nico Collins, you got Higgins, you got some weapons there. Who they grab Montgomery. So hopefully the run game is a little more consistent this year.
Mhm.
But with that defense, the team can compete with anyone.
Yeah.
That defense is going to keep them in games constantly. So if he can kind of get back to the player that we saw in year one, where you can trust him to make the big throws. I think the Texans can compete with anybody. And then next, I'm going with Jalen Hurts. Um,
Ooh,
Tons of
okay,
questions surrounding
okay.
him in that offense last year. A lot of blame went to the offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, and Sirianni. Obviously, they got a new offensive coordinator in there. You got AJ Brown out, who everyone said was such a diva and caused a lot of friction in the locker room. So, um, for anyone saying it was just a supporting cast around Jalen Hurts, I mean, he's still got a pretty good supporting cast. And Smitty will be number one. You got Mekhi Lemon. We'll see if he can produce in year one, but it still was a down year for Hurts last year. It had respectable numbers, but only threw 6 interceptions, something like that. So, but the last playoff game wasn't great. Um, the second half meltdowns where the offense would pick up like 1 or 2 first downs the entire second half. Stuff like that was just jarring. So there's been a lot of, questions about him this offseason. And, for a guy that's been to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years, some of it, we saw him, he was 17th and, the ESPN, quarterback
Oh yeah, the
rankings.
quarterback rankings. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it gets to a point where it's just a little disrespectful. Um,
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
I still think the success of the team comes down to Saquon and our offensive line. But when you have the kind of second half meltdowns offensively that they had last year, you're going to look at the quarterback. So, but with AJ Brown out of there now, I think there's going to be a great opportunity for him to kind of prove some of the naysayers wrong and come out and have a great year. Because the Eagles are still, in my opinion, they're not as much of a threat as they were, 2 years ago, but I still think, they can compete with anybody in the NFC and get to a Super Bowl. So, doesn't necessarily mean Hurts needs to, win a Super Bowl this year to, shut the critics up, but, just come out and, just have a better year than he did last year. So I think this is going to be a big year for him with the new offensive coordinator, because at some point we can't keep blaming the coordinators. We
That's
can't
true.
keep blaming the coordinators and coaches
That's
and
true.
stuff around them. So from what I hear, the offense looks good. Adding a lot of motion. It's going to look a lot different. So um, we'll see what he can do this year. But I think
Exactly.
it's going to be a lot of eyes on him and how he performs without AJ Brown.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. You got to let a naysayer know, as my guy said back in the day, lank. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be tough. I mean, that's a really good pool. I mean, all eyes are on the quarterback position at all times, right? We talk about QB and wins as a QB stat, right? And it's like, well, eventually the disrespect is there, right? And I'm not gonna say it's not totally warranted, right? There's some reasoning behind it, but like you said, 16th and then considering all the things that's happened with the Eagles just over the course of this offseason, losing AJ Brown and things, the way they ended last year, it's definitely gonna be tough. What about the coaches, man? Give me a coach or give me some coaches with the most pressure. You know where I'm gonna go with it. So I'm gonna let you go first.
Well, you already talked about the team that I'm going with, and I'm going with Zach Taylor. You said
Mm-hmm.
they missed
That's
the
a good
playoffs
one.
this year.
Yep.
It would be the fourth straight year they missed the playoffs. They missed the playoffs the last 3. So I
Yep.
mean, if you don't get it done this year, like you said, someone's getting fired. Constantly getting off the slow starts. Defense was ranked 31st in yards allowed, 30th in points allowed. So, they tried to shore up that, defensive side, traded for Dexter Lawrence, who, was coming
That's
off his
big.
worst year, but I still think it's an upgrade for that defense that was, I think, bottom of the league in rushing yards allowed. Added Brian Cook and, some other defensive pieces. So I think the team should be a lot better. They should be competing for that division title at the minimum. And like I said, they with Joe Burrow, all that money tied up into that offense, they better be in the postseason this year.
Yeah,
There's no more excuses. A player like Joe Burrow can't miss the playoffs 4 years in a row. And I
right. And
understand injury concerns, and he's missed a lot of games over the course of these years. But like you said, too much. You can't have that much money tied up into two wide receivers, and you're missing missing the playoffs.
yeah, it doesn't. And like you said, I'm glad you mentioned the division too, because it's not like they're in a division where, like, they're in a gritty division. Don't get me wrong. We always talk about the AFC North and how nasty and gritty it is. And we know all those teams will beat up on each other. But again, if I put the best 3 players, let's say the best 5 players now from each of those teams on a piece of paper, and I said, tell me which one you think is at least coming out of here, you probably taking Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and now Dexter Lawrence too, right? Like that just don't sound right. Teams have done more with less. I got 2 coaches, and I'm gonna say one for the last because it's my coach. But the first one, Shane Steichen. We talked about the Eagles, talked about the Eagles and offensive coordinator. Shane Steichen.
Okay.
Got some numbers for you. This is usually your thing, so I'm glad I'm doing this. He's 25-26 in his first 3 years as a coach. That is tied for the first most wins by a coach in their first 3 seasons without a playoff appearance, right? Last season, you're 8-2. You ended 8-9. This is a coach franchise too. Like, I get it. Like, did we expect Daniel Jones and them to even be 8-2? Probably not, right? We know the injury and all those things came into play, but we know that the Colts, as far as the NFL franchise, they're not one of those franchises that are just sitting around hoping, right? Jim Irsay and those guys, they're not sitting around waiting for you to figure it out and put it together. They're thinking, we're in a division with, what is it? The Texans,
Jags,
the Jags, right?
Titans.
Come on. We're in a division with the Texans, the Titans, and the Jags. The Titans got a rookie quarterback. They didn't do nothing last year. The Jags got a new coach last year and made it to the playoffs with Trevor Lawrence, right?
Won 8 straight to end the year.
And then we talk about the Texans. So we've already touched on these things. So it's not like they can't make the postseason in that conglomerate, especially when you start off 8-2. I mean, shit. Give me one more win, maybe 2. I can't remember exactly what the Jags record was, but let's.
I think they won. I think they won like 11 games because they ended up the 3 seed.
Right. So I mean, hey, we can fight for the wild card. I mean, dang. Let me pull up this. Let me see. I ain't play. I'll get to that. But my other coach, man, Todd B.
I was gonna let you do it.
Todd B. I appreciate you because I know you would have did it if you know. Todd Bowles, man. Talk about pressure. I mean, we're gonna talk about it a little bit later, but part of why my quarterback's not getting paid is because of you, boss. Right? Part of why my team we missed the playoffs. We talk about the AFC South. The
That's the worst
NFC
division.
South is worse. By a mile, my man. And we coming off of a team. We were a team that had made the playoffs, win that division 4 straight years, right? We had kind of figured it out. We got it. Boom, 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 boom.
It started 7-2.
Started 7-2. At one point in time, we on here, Baker MVP candidate, Bucs top 3 in the NFL, Todd Bowles figuring it out.
Twilight Zone.
And then he just, that bald head of his, everything in the top of it, just, and it was a wrap. Todd, you got to get it done, baby. You got to, and a 500 record or a 1 game over 500 and sneaking out of the division is just not going to cut it. The Bucs should not be playing the Panthers at the end of the season for our playoff lives. That's not how that's supposed to go, man. And I think why I even put more pressure on him for it is because a lot of it has to do with his defenses, right? This is a defensive minded coach that's been talked about. I mean, yes, he's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, all fine and dandy. We also had Tom Brady. Tom Brady had to save him quite a few times back then. Here we are going into this season. If the Bucs don't make the playoffs, he's getting fired. If the Bucs don't have a convincing enough playoff showing, should they make the playoffs, I think he even gets fired. It's just too much out the end. Let's say his defense, as of right now, we're gonna say Vita's still on the team. As of right now, this is probably one of the better defensive fronts he's had as a Buccaneers coach, period, even back to when he was a defensive coordinator. This is your defense. This is your team. Figure it out. Simply put. If he doesn't, I hate to see a black man get fired, but he coaches my team, and I hate watching them sometimes. So, Todd, let's figure it out. I was going to wear my Bucs jersey today, but it was a Mike Evans jersey, and I can't wear it, Todd, because of you. Mike Evans would be a Buccaneer if it wasn't, because now he up there in San Fran in the electric fields. He really ain't going to make it through the season. Look what you did. I bought that daggone...
Don't wish that on Killer Mike.
Nah, man, I don't. But I'm Mike good for a hamstring pull a year, and I loved it when it was in Tampa because like, all right, he'd be back right in time for the playoffs. Get that 1K, we good. He done ran off because he don't believe in the vision no more because of you, Todd. Franchise cornerstones are leaving because of you. Damn. Can't even wear my jersey.
Bad John.
Moving on. Because my team wasn't a playoff team. Neither was the Colts. Neither were the Bengals. But there were some playoff teams, and I think we already kind of named a few that might fit this bill. But which playoff team do you have as the most likely to miss the postseason this season?
I think this is an easy one. I got the Steelers.
Ooh, hate watch. Okay.
No hate watch
Nah,
here. Rodgers wasn't bad last year, but he certainly wasn't great by any measure. He had his moments. And we know Tomlin is going to squeeze out minimum 9 wins. Obviously, Ravens and Bengals were banged up. Couldn't get it done. Now you bring in Mike McCarthy, and to me, that's not an upgrade. Like it. Maybe this is just one of these situations. I know he was there for however long, and you might just need a new voice and a new direction in the locker room. But at the end of the day, I think you downgraded a head coach. Rodgers is another year older. I do like, them bringing in Pittman to, go along with DK, but I just don't think Rodgers is the quarterback that can, carry you anymore with his arm. They did bring in Rico Dowdle, who, had 1,000 yards last year, but, he can be, hit or miss in the run game. Him and Warren should be a solid, 2-man duo, but it remains to be seen that if they can get it clicking on offense, if Mike McCarthy can bring something out of Rodgers we haven't seen in 5-6 years, maybe they can do something. I think their defense isn't great, but I think it's good enough to keep them in games. We'll see how if that offense can improve and be a lot better. I mean, they went out sad in the postseason. Obviously, you go against Texans, who we just raved about how good their defense is, but Rodgers did not look good in that game at all. So we're going to have to see. I think Lamar and if Lamar and Burrow are healthy this year, I think the Bengals and Ravens are better teams, and I expect them to be at the top of the division. So I don't see Pittsburgh being good enough to get a wild card spot if those two teams are as good as we expect them to be. So I got Pittsburgh, and then in the NFC, Carolina. Not as high on
that was mine.
Bryce Young as others were. He definitely made some strides, but you look at his numbers; they were pretty much the same. They had a couple big comeback wins this year, obviously against Dallas, against Green Bay, against the Rams. So in the NFL, that stuff can flip year to year. If you're a 8-9, 9-18, you might win a couple of games here or there by 3 points, 4 points, and the next season you might lose those same games, and that might have you at 6-11, 5-12. So we talked about that division. Anybody could win it, but I definitely could see Carolina, falling back to, where they've been the past couple of years.
Yeah, they were on my list. And I don't even mean it to be disrespectfully. I just don't see it. I think even if the Bucs don't come out, like I still think that Saints roster, that Saints team has improved a ton. I should have put them in with my offseason. I think they've made some strides. I mean, Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara, they got them a wide. Well, they already had Chris Olave, just paid that man. You got Jordan Tyson now too. So I think the NFC South should come back down to reality where it's between the Bucs and the Saints, and we kind of battling it out. But the only other team I got, uh, I don't think the Jags get back, man. I think, they got hot. That defense was on one last year, made some huge plays, right? There was a couple games where they just pulled it out, and I was like, whoa, like, looking at the schedule,
I kind of like what they got.
no, they got a good mob, and I think the Jags will be
You got
good.
Jacoby, Brian
That's
Thomas,
that's
and
that's cool. Tough schedule
I think
though. You
Parker
got some
Washington, and
tough
we'll see
schedule.
what Travis Hunter looks like year two.
They got your division. They play the
It ain't that hard.
Ravens.
It ain't that hard to
They play the Bengals.
beat
They
our
play the
division.
Patriots. I mean, shoot, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I think that the Jags. It's gonna come down to Trevor Lawrence, right? I mean, I think we talk about these weapons,
Certainly.
but it's gonna come down to Trevor Lawrence. I think Liam Cohen is a great coach. I mean, Todd Bowles, why we ain't got him no more? So I mean, maybe I'm a little bitter. Maybe I'm a little bitter. But I don't know. Something about them. I think they take a step back. Maybe I should say that. Maybe they just take a step back. They might still make the playoffs, but I'm gonna put them in that list of teams in the playoffs. Mostly because if it ain't the Panthers, it's probably them. Steelers, I can get with that one as well. But I think everybody else, for the most part, they can probably punch their tickets again, and you can kind of book them.
I want to
Um,
say the Packers, but I'm gonna chill.
I know how you feel.
That's
It's
hate
okay.
watch. That's
Yeah,
hate
that
watch
is.
right
You're
there.
right. You're right. You're right. That's gross. That's gross.
Micah trying to make sure he back by week 6 when we play them.
Invite him.
Bring it
Welcome.
on. Bring it on.
Oh yeah, I like this nail. This the nail I like. This what I'm waiting on. This what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Ain't gonna be
switching
no
gears.
tie this time.
That was so nasty, yo.
Just 40-40 ties. Fucking ridiculous. Or whatever it
Man,
was.
I'm excited. Pivot back to my Bucks, man. We gonna close this thing out talking about our teams. While we on the topic of it. I mentioned it. I prefaced it a little bit. Baker Mayfield obviously has not been extended this year. The Bucks have 2 ongoing contract disputes with 2 of their stars, Vita Vea and Baker Mayfield. But we'll focus on the quarterback. How do you feel about it now? Do you think it's a bad look? That we're not extending them prior to the season?
I'm a little torn between it. Um,
Hmm.
Obviously, you should take care of your guy, and I saw they offered him 2 years, 100 million. I mean,
We
it's
get
hard for me
he
to be
want he
like,
wanted 50 M's. He got it.
it's hard for me to, feel bad for him when you got the 50 mil that you wanted. I understand he wanted the extra year, but I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think he's earned a bump in pay for sure. You look at the quarterbacks ahead of him making that kind of money. He's definitely performed. But at the end of the day, like, we talked about, they started out 7-2, and you somehow still missed the playoffs in probably the weakest division in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's not all on him,
Nope.
but if you're going to dish out 50 million to a quarterback, I need to be, I should be certain that I can trust you to make the playoffs, especially in a weak division. Um, he last like 7 games, he had 9 TDs to 8 interceptions, like sub 60% completion percentage. So I mean, I don't think he played great down the stretch. I know there were some injuries. He played through some injuries as well. He's definitely earned his money, but I can understand the Bucks' caution on giving him the extra years that he wanted. So I mean, it's a tough situation. You know, when you outperform your contract and you feel like you should get the extension and the years that you want. But I can understand the organization, saying, do we want to make that kind of commitment for a 9-8 team and a wild card exit. So that's something they got to think about. But on the other end of that, Baker with a chip on his shoulder, that's the best version of Baker. And God forbid he comes out, he has another fantastic year. He keeps up the pace that he had in the first 7-9 games last year. He plays like that throughout the year. They make the playoffs. Price of the brick just goes up. So I mean, then the Bucs will be kicking themselves for not maybe getting the extension done earlier, and that'll be on them. That's the NFL for you. You take your chances, but I think they can franchise tag him after this year too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, just
This is
it's
my
a
thing.
nasty part of the business.
This is my thing. I was torn. Obviously, as a Buck fan, I've gone through several different feelings about this. I've been reading, I've been listening to people talk, I've been listening to Baker talk, and I think that was a big thing that hurt. I think Baker hurt himself a little bit. He got on that mic and started chatting. Right, got on there. He was like, "Oh, you said I'm your guy." Well, basically what you just said. Price of the brick gonna go up once I go off. Right, that's fine. Bet on yourself. But the Bucs just don't normally do this. Like, we don't have to pay him this year. He's got another year. We've got the franchise tag. He went on the mic and was talking about, oh, well, they got the dead money. We all know there's plenty of salary cap gurus in the NFL today that can work around. If you get that tag, my man, you get a tag. So let's pump the brakes. But I mean, we usually get it done with our guys sometime between camp and in the beginning of the season, right? And if not, we get it done right after. Mike Evans, we did the same thing with Mike Evans 2 years ago. He wanted his deal. He got it
Yeah,
at the
but
end of the
do
year.
you usually do this with somebody that's asking for $50 million a year?
I mean, so this is the thing. We said why. I think we've established that it's not the money, right? We gave him the money. He wanted additional years of security. My thing is, if I'm Baker, I'm 31 years old. I cash in on this 2-year deal. It's really a 3-year deal because it's an extension for your next year, right? 3 years, you about to get $50 million a year over the next 3 years. Cool. I'm 33. I can cash in again, pay me again, as opposed to me saying, I'm going to give you a 4-year deal. Now, at the end of this deal, you might not get another one. Or if you play your way out of the contract, then we're going to leave you. Like you said, right now, the reason why the Bucs aren't paying him is because there's too many question marks. There's too many question marks. And the Bucs are, for what it's worth, Jason Light, he does a pretty decent job drafting, right? And when you draft decent players, you got to pay people down the line, down the line, down the line. Obviously, your quarterback, you would think you want to take care of your franchise quarterback, and that's what we've called them. But if you have uncertainty at the head coaching position, right? Even when we made the playoffs the year prior, it wasn't like we blew the division away, right? We went on national TV against Kirk Cousins and the Falcons and gave up the ass multiple times, right? So we can't pretend that like, oh, we was 13 and
It's
4.
constantly a struggle to win like the worst division in football.
Precisely. And for what it's worth, the Baker roller coaster is too consistent. Yes, you said it. He was hurt last year. Absolutely. I watched QB1. I knew he was already hurt. I watched the show. He looked whatever. And fans love him for that toughness and that tenacity. But it's also what hurt Baker in Cleveland, right? When Baker was winning in Cleveland, he was healthy, had that chip. He got comfortable. He got hurt, played through it. It didn't look that great. Everything's new for the Bucs. You just lost Mike Evans, right? You're probably going to end up having to trade Vita Vea. Can we say for sure, if all else fails, we know for a fact we want this guy to be at the helm, even if we got to hire a new coach, even if we got to officially pack it up and rebuild? Do you want to do that with a 31-year-old quarterback that you just gave $50 million for the next 4 years? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not that he hasn't earned the right potentially, but it's also like, it's not like he full blown said, I deserve a blank check with my play. Because we saw it fluctuate and we've seen how that can go. We've seen the best of Baker. We've seen the worst of Baker. And like you said, chip on your shoulder, Baker. Cool. I know the Bucs organization to say if Baker Mayfield comes out and plays like he says he's going to play, we won't have a problem paying him. He'll get the money. He'll get the deal. It'll be over with, right? You the quarterback. I mean, shoot. Prior to Tom Brady, we were, who's next? And I think that's
30 for
probably part of
30.
it. That's probably part of the psyche for Baker, right? It's like, well, this is the team that, I followed up Tom Brady and we ain't terrible. That's true. But can I book you to play at B plus to A plus level all the time? No matter what. Right? Like we talk about Joe Burrow and those guys, right? These are Joe Burrow. We watch the Bengals and we know for a fact, like, he's not hurting this team, right? He's not. We see games where Baker lights it on fire, then goes completely mute or turns the ball over, right? So, hey man, we good. Earn your keep. Play it again. Do another season. And like we said, at the end of the day, if we want to tag you, we will. And you'll just have to keep playing until either one of our multiple decisions becomes easier to make ultimately, right? So that's just kind of how it is. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, I'm excited for the season. I think he'll be fine, and I think he'll get paid. Right? He just got to be a little, just pump the brakes, bake. We good. It's like you on a contract, and it's not over. We don't have to do nothing right now. It would be nice, but we don't have to do nothing. So we ain't going to. Let's shift gears to your team because I'm getting hot over here. I talked about the offseason being very, very nice, very good, very rewarding for you all. Another year in that offense. What is it that y'all said?
Please don't,
Gotti?
please don't, please don't.
What is it?
Yeah.
Is it Gotti? Greatest offense?
He just guaranteed me
What
going
is
seven
it?
and
What
ten.
was it? Was it Gotti?
It is, bro.
Dak called his shot, man. Y'all the greatest offense on turf. Get it going. Get it going.
Greatest offense there is.
Yeah, whatever. That even worse. You're right. That is what it is. Greatest offense there is. That's what y'all are striving for. Jake Ferguson and what my guy George Pickens said. What's the ceiling? I don't think there is one. CD got the bag over his head. All the vibes are immaculate
And
in
we
the
got
Dirty
8 and
D.
9 written all over us.
The vibes are immaculate in the Dirty D. And is it time? Like, should they have Super Bowl expectations? Because that's the word on the street. Y'all got the swag back. Dak's ready. Greatest offense there is. Why not us? I'm gonna just let you talk about it. Because
Yes.
I always come on here and give y'all a lot of credit, is what I've learned. And then you're
I
always
don't
like,
know
I don't know
why.
why. See?
I mean, what have they done the last couple of years? I don't think they've ever proved you right.
They haven't.
Um,
And that's why I'm not
they
saying
they
nothing this
con-
year.
they constantly prove me right. But yeah, I think they've made, like you said, they've made a ton of improvements. Um, I mean, it's hard to go anywhere but up. When you look at that defense last year, bottom 30th or below in pretty much every defensive category. Um, you made the trade for Quentin Williams. I do like that. Traded for Rashawn Gary. Oh, Rashawn should be back. You drafted Caleb Downs, so um, got Christian Parker as defensive coordinator, and um, because Eagles fans were so upset about that, it must mean that it was a solid move. So excited, to see where that goes. But I think to put Super Bowl expectations on this team, I get it. I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboys, it's the brand, it's Jerry Jones, it's, Jerry World, whatever, $1 billion playpen. I understand all that. But I'm just not of the mindset that a brand, because you have a big brand, automatically puts you in championship contention. Um, just because the Lakers are the Lakers does not mean that they should be um, looked at to win a championship every single season. But for some reason, that's the case with the Dallas Cowboys. And I just think there's too many teams in the NFC that right now constructed are better. Um, Rams and Seahawks, just to start it off, the two NFC championship teams last year. They're bringing back pretty much the same group. Rams, obviously, we talked about the moves they made, even better. So, I mean, that's already put you behind. I mean, the Eagles, who've won the division the last 2 years, they're still a threat to win that division again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's three teams right there. You still got Packers, Lions, Bears in that mix. So, I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the NFC that I think the Cowboys would have to jump to, be in that upper echelon. And it just remains to be seen. Offensively, they were great last year. Dak had, you know, uh, he have a lot more MVP consideration had the team, had a good record. Um, but defensively, they made some moves, but I don't know if they made enough to put them in Super Bowl contention. Um, you at this point, you're just hoping that they're middle of the pack. That's for me best case scenario for that defense this year. I still think the secondary, even with Caleb Downs, is still a weak spot of this team. We'll see if the line is improved, but we'll see if they can generate some more pressure this year. Um, they were solid at getting pressure, but couldn't get home for sacks. Stopping the run was still an issue. Hopefully, having Quentin Williams for the entire year will help with the run game. Offensively, I'm not worried about them, but I don't know if defensively that they're going to be good enough to get past the Rams or the Seahawks or even 49ers, Eagles, Bears, a bunch of teams out there. It's still very up in the air. It would have to take a giant leap defensively for them to be put in Super Bowl contention. I mean, one thing about this team, they're gonna have highs and lows every single year with the Cowboys. No matter what their record is, there's whether they win 12 games, 7 games, it's always a roller coaster with them. But one thing that's certain is that they are not going to get past the divisional round. That's been the case for the last 30 years. So I don't really see that ending this year. I don't think this is the team. I wish it was because I don't know. Like we talked about the Bengals and paying 2 receivers and tying up a lot of money in the offense and not getting it done. I don't know if they can pay Pickens. I really don't know if that's going to happen. They franchise tagged him this year. Um, we'll see what happens. I expect the offense to show up and play great. But like I said, the key will be defensively, and I don't know if they have the personnel to stop Seattle or Los Angeles.
Yeah. I think where y'all stand for me is like y'all are that team that can really get up with anybody, right? Like think of an any
And
given
lose to
Sunday type
anybody.
of right.
Yeah.
Any given Sunday type of scenario where talent wise, offensively, monikers and nonsense aside, like, yes, do y'all have the talent on paper offensively to get it done? Absolutely. Do y'all have better pieces on defense this year to be able to hopefully sustain, you know, meaningful defensive possessions and get off the field and get the offense back on the field and not give up big plays and the things that played you guys last year? Yes. Super Bowl contention, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, there's just other rosters where I'm just like, nah, I mean, this is more well-rounded, right? We've just seen it. We just know it works. Whereas you guys are just kind of like, we gonna have to see when we see. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is. So I think y'all can beat anybody in the NFL for sure. I think you can go toe to toe with the best of the best in the NFC. You can go play the Rams today. Obviously, when y'all go play the Eagles, it'll be a bar fight, right? You can go play the Seahawks. Let me not disrespect the Seahawks. I can't disrespect the champs, right? You can get with these teams that have some really good games, but would I put y'all over the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? Not right now. So it's tough. But the good news is
I don't even think
training
it's a
camp,
guarantee they make the playoffs.
it's not. It's not, but I
I
could
can't
very
I
well.
can't I can't take a team to be a Super Bowl contender, and I'm not even 100% sure they're gonna make the playoffs or win their division.
It's a tough spot to be in. I could see y'all winning the division. I could see
I could
y'all
too.
just tucking your
Another
tail. You know
another
what I'm
another
saying?
7-10 season. I could see that too.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. It's all out there for us. I mean, you know, NFL season's on the horizon. People, get ready for your fantasy football drafts and all the things that y'all do. You know what I'm saying? Get your popcorn, get your Sunday meals ready because the season's coming, man. It's almost here. Preseason's here. You know, three games now. No more 4 games. It's been that way for what, 2 years now, I think. So if you want to watch your rookies, you want to watch your team. I know Nell does not watch the preseason, folks. So don't expect nothing from Nell on the Cowboys really until after probably week 1. And even after week 1, depending on how the game goes, he may or may not turn it off. He may not even be able to watch it depending on if he got to work. So my friends that like to hear from Nell about the Cowboys and they text me and they ask me questions about how you feeling, I'm letting you know right now.
You just know when the Cowboys lose that first game,
We've come a
we
long way.
transitioning.
We've come a long way from bags on your head, man.
Yeah, that was a low point.
We've come a long way, man. But folks, that's gonna do it for this episode of Two for Two, man. We appreciate, each and every one of y'all as always for rocking with us. I just realized I didn't even tell y'all what episode this was. This is season 5, episode 5. So if you didn't know, this is the one you need to tap into. You know where to find us on all platforms, all social medias at Two for Two Pod. Check into the YouTube, man. Check into the Apple Podcast, check into Spotify, Spreaker, whatever you got. Turn it on your way to work. Tell a friend, share. And we're going to keep doing this thing. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. Keith Snell, 2 for 2. You know what it is. We out.